Hi my friend, long time no see. In this video we are talking all about the cups. The cup suit is associated with the element of water, and water metaphorically represents our emotions and our feelings. The majority of the cups have a lot to do with Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio energy. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's start with numero uno. We have the Ace of Cups. On this card, we can see there's a gray background with a hand coming out of the cloud. And then the cup itself is yellow and there's a W on it, and that W stands for Weight, which is the last name of the man who commissioned this deck. And at the tippity top of the cup, we see a dove holding this wafer with a cross on it. And then the cup itself is overflowing and pouring into this big lake with a bunch of water lilies, as well as little lotuses. And the lotus flower is very significant because it's a flower that literally grows from the bottom of a body of water, from the muck, and it takes its time rising up to the surface. So the Ace of Cups is a new beginning, a new emotional beginning, but it's a beginning that was a long time coming. This kind of emotional overwhelm, it usually doesn't come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So the Ace of Cups kind of looks like the Holy Grail being held by the hand of God. When this pops up in a reading, we can always assume it's some kind of emotional outburst, for better or for worse. This symbolizes new love, new life, a birth of sorts. This could be a new creative idea. The Ace of Cups can show up when it's time to get something off of your chest, especially if there's a lot of swords next to it or in the reading, swords representing communication. And then the Ace of Cups would represent like a confession of sorts. The Ace of Cups can represent having a crush on someone, someone having a crush on you, just very, very strong feelings for one another. However, the Ace of Cups can also represent overindulgence. This can pop up if someone is like literally an alcoholic or an addict of sorts. Yeah, in the reverse position, it's as if the water is spilling and the well is running dry. So this is literally a lack of emotion, a lack of love, a lack of creativity. Or on the flip side, an Ace of Cups reverse kind of energy, it could be a very, very like dramatic, unstable, overly emotional to the point where there's a need to get grounded. And last but not least, the Ace of Cups reversed can represent the fact that there was once a lot of emotion in this situation, and since then the feelings have gone numb, or they're just not there anymore. In any event, the Ace of Cups it's an opportunity. It's feelings being acknowledged. There's some kind of emotion that is rising to the surface and it's spilling over, and we can't afford to ignore this anymore. Like I said, the Ace of Cups is typically a long time coming. All right, so after the Ace of Cups, we move on to the Two of Cups. And if this ace represents emotions that are coming up to the surface, in the Two of Cups, we have two different people who are seeing each other eye to eye, and their feelings for each other, they look pretty mutual. All right, in the Two of Cups, we see a woman and a man. The woman has a little laurel wreath on her head, and the man has some red roses. The laurel wreath represents victory and the roses represent passion. He's wearing a cute little yellow outfit. She's wearing a blue and white outfit. And so that blue represents intuition, the white represents purity, and then the red on her shoes reflect back that passion of the man. And again, yellow represents enlightenment. Anytime you see a fun pattern in the tarot, that's gonna represent like not taking yourself too seriously. Polka dots, flowers. I'm trying to find the Fool card because the Fool has a fun getup, and that's the perfect example of this symbolism. God, where's the Fool? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Yeah, okay. His outfit. All those flowers, that pattern. It literally just represents not taking yourself too seriously, not taking life too seriously. Okay, and then above their head we have this caduceus with a lion and the wings. And so the caduceus, I don't know, it's a symbol of Mercury. And the planet Mercury, the god Mercury. Mercury rules over communication and logical thought. And so with these two snakes seeing each other eye to eye, it reinforces the idea that these two are communicating something and they're on the same page, okay? The lion overlooking them is a nod to like the strength card. So this is about like spiritual wisdom, like they're being united, they're coming together under the eye of God. There's something very protected about their connection. Lions also represent like playfulness and procreation. The wings plus the lion's face represent like Scorpio energy and Leo energy coming together. Both Leo and Scorpio, so Leo rules over the 5th house, Scorpio rules over the 8th house. Both of these signs have a lot to do with sex and partnership in general. And then they're standing on the solid ground with a bunch of hills in the background. Now, Pamela Coleman Smith, Pixie, who designed these cards, she was a like theater set designer. And so in her definition, in her description of what's happening on the Two of Cups, is that these two people are part of a play and they're standing on a theater stage. But that's up for you to decipher whenever you pull the Two of Cups in a reading to figure out whether or not the Two of Cups is speaking to a partnership, a union, a reflection in your own life, or is it representing something that's staged, something that's fake, like going through the motions of sorts. Okay, so the Two of Cups, it's two people choosing each other. This is reminiscent of the Lovers card. The Lovers is about choices. We see that man and woman imagery coming back, that reflection, that polarity coming back into play. But this is about seeing other people eye to eye and choosing to have them in your life. This is about union, this is about sharing, this is about partnership. Yeah, and so anytime a 2 card shows up in a reading, this is a moment of self-reflection and a moment to pause. If we think back to the 2 of Swords, like this was a woman who had a decision to make, and so because of that, she was taking her time, trusting her intuition, dealing with the information available to her, dealing with the emotions that are involved in this situation. 2 of Cups is a similar deal. Like there's not really a decision to make here, but this is a moment to stop, self-reflect, pause. What are the people in your life reflecting back to you? Are you happy with that? Is it in alignment with you? Because when the 2 of Cups is reversed, essentially this is just misalignment. This is the people in your life not treating you the way you deserve to be treated, or vice versa. The 2 of Cups reversed represents a lack of balance. This could also just be like a separation from a person. The 2 of Cups reversed can also represent broken agreements. This is conflict. This can be selfish energy, or this could be unreciprocated energy. Yes, the 2 of Cups is about the relationships that we have with others, but I think it's fun to think about the 2 of Cups as the relationship that we have with ourselves, the relationship that we have with our higher self, the relationship that our masculine energy has with our feminine energy. And when it's showing up reversed in a reading like for you, it just represents the fact that like there's an opportunity for you to become even more balanced. There's an opportunity for you to become even more aligned with your higher self. Okay? All right, my friends, from the 2, we add a 3rd cup into the equation, And now we're talking about the Three of Cups. I love the Three of Cups, and I didn't always love the Three of Cups because traditionally this card is about like, it does sometimes represent like third party situations and cheating slash polyamorous situations, entertaining multiple people at the same time. This can also represent like a girls' night out, like fun, joy, sisterhood. But I've been loving the Three of Cups ever since I watched a Aubrey Marcus podcast episode. He had on a man who I believed was named Michael Maud. And this man like was some kind of professional researcher like when it comes to mythology. And so he shared the story of, I believe, like a Greek myth, the Greek belief that there are two rivers in life. There's the river of forgetfulness and the river of remembrance. And when we create, when artists, when comedians, when really any kind of creator like feels inspired, what you're doing is pulling from the muses. And the Greeks would say that the muses would feed you information and inspiration from the river of remembering. And that like the creative process is one that's very spiritual. And in that process, you as the artist, you as the conduit, you are working with the muses. And so the Three of Cups depicts muses, essentially. These are three women that are dancing in a circle. They're in like some kind of pumpkin patch. There's some kind of harvest. It's a very fruitful time. And they're dancing with their cups up in the air. The Three of Cups represents joy, celebration. The three women can represent like the three energies of the triple goddess. If we think back to the high priestess and her crown that had a full moon in the middle with the waxing and the waning moons off to the side, representing the fullness of motherhood in the middle, and then the maiden phase of life off to one side and the crone or waning phase of life off to the other side. So we can assume one of these is a mother, one of these is a maiden, one of these is a crone. It is also believed that these three women represent the three theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity. And also in Greek mythology, there's the story of the three fates. I believe this kind of mythology can be found in a bunch of different cultures, like not just Greek. But if you've ever seen the Disney movie Hercules, those like three women, like the witches that like all shared one eyeball, they were the three fates. And so the three fates were women who like weaved the fabric of life together, and every human's soul was represented by a piece of yarn. And when it's your time to die, they snip your string. Okay, three in numerology, I've said it before, I will say it again. It's about creation. It's about the sperm and the egg coming together. It's the Holy Trinity. It's Mother, Father, Child, God, Son, Holy Ghost. It's the womb space, a portal of sorts. And so threes represent a development, a flow, an ease, a growth, and expansion. When we see the Three of Cups reversed, this energy can be very dysfunctional or like kind of destructive. The Three of Cups reversed represents a lack of creativity. This represents the party being over or the party being delayed, like a feeling of joy being delayed. The Three of Cups reversed can also represent addiction or like an over-consuming of sorts. And in regards to like third party situations and cheating, the Three of Cups reversed is a good like confirmation of that kind of situation. You know what I mean? But overall, the Three of Cups is a very feminine energy. It's a very joyous energy. There is some kind of party, some kind of celebration happening here. And after the party on this Three of Cups, we get the Four of Cups. And 4s in numerology represent stability. So we are moving into some kind of emotional stability, but there's 2 different ways to read this card. There's multiple ways, but really there's 2 different avenues that you can take with this. The first, meaning the first definition, has a lot to do with the fact that these 3 cups are now in front of him. And maybe that dude went to the party and he doesn't want to drink anymore. He doesn't want to party anymore. His arms are crossed because he's staring at those cups and it's making him sick. And there's another cup being offered to him, but he's like, no, like I literally cannot. And he needs a break. Now, the 4 of Cups could also represent not being satisfied with what's in front of you to the point where you become oblivious to the fact that there's something better for you being offered. And so the 4 of Cups can represent like boredom, complacency. No matter how you read this card, there's an obvious amount of discontent happening here. Okay, so like I said, we got 3 cups on the ground, and then this man is wearing blue, green, and red, and he's sitting with his back against a tree, and we don't see trees that often in the tarot deck. And so similar to the Ace of Cups, we see a 4th cup being offered from seemingly nowhere. And so this card shows up when we have everything we need. And maybe there's a lack of appreciating the fact that we have everything we need. The 4 of Cups signifies a lack of gratitude. This is about being unfulfilled. This is being oblivious to a blessing. I do want to mention that, like, even though the cups are associated with the element of water, and like we'll see in the next card, sometimes there's wine in the cups. This could also be bloodshed, so take that with a grain of salt. But we can assume that there's water in these women's cups, but also maybe it's wine. And so maybe wine or something else is being offered here besides just water and feelings. The tree metaphorically represents life itself and longevity. This energy is stuck, it's stagnant, it's gone stale, it's a little bored, and this can represent a waste of an opportunity. Okay, now when we see the 4 of Cups in the reverse position, this can represent being bored for too long. Like, it's time to get yourself out of a rut. It's time to do something about the emotions that you've been sitting in for too long. This energy can be like sly and clever and thinking that like you can outsmart some kind of emotional situation that you're in without like fully committing, because the number 4 is about stability and going back to the Emperor, this is the energy of like protecting what you care about. So with the 4 of Cups in the reverse position, there's a lack of protection, there's a lack of caring here. The 4 of Cups reverse can also represent like being curious about what's in the cup. Like this man, like instead of ignoring or not seeing the blessing, in the reverse position, this can represent you seeing the blessing, you getting more grateful. And for that reason, the 4 of Cups reverse can also represent healing, some kind of healing. Yeah, my friends. Okay, so from the 4, from this discontent feeling of complacency, we move on to the 5. And so the 5 of Cups it's a heavy energy. And it warns us of the dangers of sitting in the 4 of Cups for too long, because it brings us to this point. And in this card, we see a man with a black cape on and his head is pointed downwards. There's a dramatic gray background, and he's got 3 cups knocked over with 2 cups standing upright behind him. The river that's behind this man represents the ebb and flow and the constant motion of life itself. And then that bridge is a symbol of transition and like crossing through like tough periods of life and getting to the other side of some kind of conflict or turmoil. The Five of Cups is about the 5 stages of grief. And the 5 stages of grief are denial, depression, anger, bargaining, and then finally acceptance. Yes, this card is about pain, but it's specifically about some kind of loss of pleasure. Because if we pay attention to the fact that there's 2 cups upright and 3 cups reversed, this is a nod to the 2 of Cups and the 3 of Cups. The 2 of Cups is about partnership and reflection and the other people in our life. The 3 of Cups was the sense of joy and fun. So there is a loss of joy, there is a loss of fun, there is some kind of harsh truth that's setting in, but those 2 cups, which represent partnership and balance and reflection, are still upright. So when we're in a 5 of Cups moment, it's helpful to rely on the other people in our life. The 5 of Cups is a sign that it's safe for you to ask for help, and also pay attention to who is showing up to support you when you feel like this. The 5 of Cups shows up when it's time to validate your own feelings and also take your time processing what you feel. All right, when we see this card reversed, I think this is a pretty good sign. I tend to interpret this energy as very self-forgiving, and usually the 5 of Cups reversed represents someone who's been grieving for a while, and they know that they have to move on. They have to cope in some way, shape, or form. This is a person who's reaching some kind of acceptance. However, this could also be someone who is wallowing. Upright is a sign to sit with your pain, sit with your feelings. In the reverse position, it's like, okay, you can only sit here for so long, now we gotta do something about it, okay? After the 5 of Cups, after we feel our feelings, we get the 6 of Cups. And there's something very jarring about the transition from the 5 to the 6. Like, the energy, the vibe of these 2 cards are very, very different. We go from grief and loss and heartache into a sense of playfulness and curiosity and friendship and joy. On this card, we see 2 people, presumably they're kids, and in their cups, we see a bunch of flowers, specifically white flowers. And they're in some kind of like town square, but we get the feeling that they are separate. They are alone, more or less. However, there is some kind of guard in this card, which also gives off the idea that they're being protected. There's something very like sacred about this friendship, this union, this partnership. The 6 of Cups speaks to soulmate energy, platonic and romantic soulmates. 6s, again, in numerology, this is about harmony and balance and partnership. So this energy is very playful, it's very childish. This is about childhood innocence. This is about having a rose-colored glasses perspective when it comes to life and when it comes to love and when it comes to the past. This energy is very nostalgic, and it also reminds us that memories can be bittersweet. And so because of all the childhood imagery that's happening on this card, when it's in the reverse position, this is a sign to focus on inner child work. This is a sign that maybe you're taking yourself too seriously and it's time to bring a sense of playfulness and bring a sense of curiosity back into your own life and back into the relationships that you have. The 6 of Cups reverse can also represent being stuck in the past. This is an energy that's really having a hard time moving on. So if we think about the 6 of Swords and how in that card, that 6 was about moving on. It was about mentally moving on. In the imagery, we saw an adult and a child being pushed in a boat, right? So this 6 is about moving on. This 6 is about moving on too. We're moving on from the 5 of Cups, right? And so the way to do that is with a sense of humor. When you see the 6 of Cups, this indicates that it's safe for you to be a little silly, be a little playful, lean into the hobbies and the people that bring out a childlike spark in you. Okay, from the 6, we move on to the 7. So on this card, we see a man and his back is to us because he is examining what is in those 7 cups in front of him. And each of these cups represent a planet or a celestial body, okay? So this is the head of the Empress, and so this cup represents Venus. This is supposed to be the High Priestess underneath a veil, and this represents the moon. The snake in this cup represents Mercury. This is supposed to be the tower, and the tower is associated with Mars energy. These jewels represent Jupiter and the pearls of wisdom that Jupiter gives us. This cup with the skull and the laurel wreath represents Saturn. So this is like restriction and reward, right, for Saturn. But this dragon represents the sun. And so this dragon is a nod to the mythology of Apollo's chariot being pulled by a dragon. And so Apollo, the god of the sun, he dragged the sun across the sky every day. Yeah, so this card is about having a lot of options in front of you and needing to figure out what is actually meant for you and what is not meant for you. This energy is about like hopes and dreams and goals, but more so it's about the importance of trusting yourself and getting to know yourself through your own dreams and hopes and goals. Like, what are you passionate about? Okay, this is a reminder that like not everything in life is meant for you. You have your own specific, your own unique path for a reason, and you're gonna reach a point in time where you're gonna have to make some really hard decisions, and you need to be able to trust yourself. You need to be able to go after the things that you want, but in order to do that, you first and foremost have to learn what you want. So going back to the idea that the 6 of Cups is about having some kind of rose-colored vision, some kind of rose-colored glasses on. The 7 of Cups is when we have to figure out how to take the rose-colored glasses off. It's like, this energy is so daydreamy, and it's important for you to daydream. It's important for you to get passionate about your hopes, your dreams, and your aspirations, but the odds are good that like, when you see this card, there's something you're idealizing, there's something that you're putting on a pedestal that isn't what it seems. This card is a reminder that all that glitters isn't gold. This card reminds us to be careful what we wish for, and it's the fact that like everything you own also owns you. This is a card of discernment and making smart choices. All right. In the reverse position, I typically read this as like a good sign. Like you're getting clearer about what you want. You're learning how to trust yourself and trust your decision making. If the 7 of Cups upright is a little bit of like fogginess, there's a little bit of an illusion happening, a little bit of delusion happening. In the reverse position, it's a sign that the illusion is lifting, the fog is clearing. And the 7 of Cups reverse can also represent a lack of commitment. Like one's lack of commitment to someone else, but also a lack of commitment to your own hopes and dreams. Like the 7 of Cups reverse can be a very like defeated energy. However, you could also read it as someone who is like so consumed in their ideas, in their fantasies, that they never take action towards the things that they want. So this could be a person who is either coming to terms and getting more realistic and practical about their goals, or someone who is just like kind of a lost cause, like a little too head in the clouds. All right, so after the 7 of Cups, after we have the opportunity to look at what's in front of us and figure out what's actually what's actually in alignment with who we are. After we make that choice, we move on to the Eight of Cups. In this card, we see a man cloaked in red with a walking stick, and he is moving away from 8 cups neatly stacked up. In the background, we have some water, some mountains. We see the moon again. Every single 8 card in the deck is about personal power, personal karma, personal fate, and destiny. And this man, he's taking his destiny into his own hands. Ultimately, this card is about walking away from a person, a place, or a thing. This is an energy of disappointment. This is about choosing yourself. This is about choosing to believe that you deserve better than the situation you're currently in. These cups represent some kind of abandoned success. Like, this man is walking away from a situation that like is satisfying, is successful in some way, shape, or form, but we can discern from the fact that like the moon is here and there's a bunch of blue on this card. He is trusting his intuition. He's taking a risk and venturing into the unknown in pursuit of something better than what he has previously experienced. This card shows up when it's time to cut the cord, when it's time to say goodbye, when it's time to choose yourself and choose your peace of mind and leave a situation. When we see the Eight of Cups in the reverse position, this can represent a resistance towards leaving a situation. This can represent refusing to move on, refusing to move forward. And usually this stems from not trusting the future or just being like afraid of uncertainty, afraid of the fact that you don't know where you're going, just like afraid to move on. The Eight of Cups reversed can represent like settling for less than you deserve, not understanding your worth. So like, yes, this could represent being afraid of moving on, but sometimes a person in an Eight of Cups reversed energy is oblivious to the fact that they have the freedom to move on. They might be oblivious to what is actually hindering their growth, you know what I mean? So Eight of Cups is about choosing yourself. It's about taking a risk and betting on yourself. This is also a card of like faith, building a sense of faith in yourself, building a sense of confidence. And so this man is walking away from 8 cups in pursuit of a 9th cup. But the truth is, he doesn't even know if that 9th cup actually exists. And so the 9 of Cups in tarot, it represents a dream come true, a wish fulfillment. But when we're still in the 8 of Cups, there's a feeling of uncertainty. There's a discomfort here. There's like some kind of growing pain here that needs to be acknowledged. All right? But if we have the strength, if we have the faith, if we have the confidence to move through the darkness of the 8 of Cups, it brings us that wish fulfillment. Okay, so on this card, we see a man who looks pretty content. He's wearing a cute little hat and he's sitting in front of his 9 cups. And his 9 cups are on display. He's very proud of what he's created. He's very proud of what he's worked for. And so again, 9 in numerology is about integration. It's about unpacking and digesting and understanding what we've actually been through. So because this man has moved through 9 different cups, he's moved through a roller coaster of emotion. He's very proud of himself and how far he has come. The 9 of Cups represents indulgence and pleasure and joy. This represents comfort. And also it represents the fact that like trusting yourself paid off. You have every right in the world to be proud of yourself. So because the 9 of Cups equates to a feeling of fulfillment and success, this is a reminder to continue to make healthy choices. Like there is a feeling of pleasure and indulgence and comfort in this energy. And so like when we see the Nine of Cups reversed, this can indicate the lack of gratitude. It is some kind of discontentment. This card in the reverse position can represent poor coping mechanisms, unhealthy choices. This is an energy that feels empty. They could be surrounded by success, they could be surrounded by love, and in the reverse position, there's still a feeling of emptiness. And so because of that, this can equate to like addictive tendencies and some form of like self-numbing, self-harm too, self-sabotage. But similar to the Eight of Cups reversed, this is a feeling of settling. I'm gonna settle here. Settling for less than you deserve and settling for that discontentment versus putting in the work to achieve a feeling of contentment and cultivate a feeling of gratitude and fulfillment. Okay, so in the Nine of Cups, we proudly parade our emotional triumphs behind us, and we feel pretty good about ourselves and all the shit that we've been through, and we're smarter and we're kinder and we're wiser because of it. And this brings us to a Ten of Cups moment. In this card, we see a beautiful family portrait. There are two kids playing nicely together. They are skipping in a circle while their mother and father are embracing each other, but also they're gesturing to the rainbow above their head. And there is this like beautiful little scenic backdrop. The Ten of Cups is about unity. It's about joy. It's about love. It's about how the family unit and our friendships, whatever we consider to be our closest relationships, they act as a refuge away from the rest of the world. The rainbow in this card represents sacred obligations, sacred commitments. The Ten of Cups is a feeling of being safe with the people that you're with. It's a feeling of emotional growth, emotional maturity. It's also a feeling of gratitude. And it's a reminder that like the journey that got you here, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it. It was worth it. The healing that you had to do to get this far in your journey, it was worth it, and you should be really proud of yourself, and you should take some time to enjoy this moment. Again, tens in tarot, tens in numerology, this is an internal shift. When we reach a 10, we are truly a different version of ourselves. We have fully integrated, fully grasped some kind of lesson that has made us a little bit more resilient. And because we're talking about cups, we're talking about our feelings and our emotions. By the time we reach a Ten of Cups moment in our life, we've had to become a lot more vulnerable with ourselves and a lot more vulnerable with the people around us. And in that vulnerability, there's so much love to be experienced. All right, this is a very beautiful, beautiful energy. In the reverse position, something just feels off. The vibes are less than immaculate. Ten of Cups reverse can be having a fight with a friend, having a fight with a loved one. This can also represent the fact that like you feel like someone is missing from your life. The Ten of Cups reverse also feels a little like emotionally draining. This could be the energy of someone who's a energy vampire of sorts. And it's just a sign to really cultivate a sense of gratitude for what is going right in your life. Because when we see the Ten of Cups reversed, it means that you're so close to being able to access the Ten of Cups upright. And so understanding the 10 to be an internal shift, a psychological reprogramming of sorts, when it's in the reverse position, the psychological reprogramming that needs to happen here, it has a lot to do with your feelings. This card was about needing to readjust the way you are talking to yourself, readjust the way you think about yourself, the way you perceive yourself, because there needs to be some kind of healing here that allows you to step into a different version of yourself. The Ten of Cups reversed suggests that there's a need for you to get more vulnerable, not only with yourself, but with the other people in your life. There's a need for you to get more vulnerable and express some feelings that might be uncomfortable or feelings that you've been bottling up for a long time. Okay. All right, so the Ten of Cups, this is a beautiful, healthy relationship dynamic, beautiful, healthy friendship dynamic, beautiful, healthy family dynamic, and it took us a minute to get here. It took a lot of life experiences and relationships and heartache and grief and healing to get here, but here we are. So from the 10, we have the opportunity to move on to the court cards. We got the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the Queen, and the King. So let's begin by talking about the Page of Cups. Just like the Page of Swords, this energy is very youthful. The Page of Cups is a hopeless romantic. He's a poet. He's very creative. He's got a lot of feelings, and he's not afraid to express them. He's not afraid to flirt. He's not afraid to share how he feels. Okay, so in this card, we see a man who's also probably standing on some kind of stage, some kind of platform. There's some rocky waters behind him. He's wearing a funky little getup, and he's got a fun hat on. Very blue and red, so lots of passion, lots of intuition. And in his cup, he's got a fish. He's got a friend that he is like low-key communicating with. So the Page of Cups represents a sweet energy, an expressive energy. This is an energy that loves love. It's romantic, it's innocent, it's also kind of moody. This energy can be a little passive aggressive. The Page of Cups can represent psychic ability, being sensitive to energy, being sensitive emotionally. This is dreamy, this is imaginative. This energy is also kind of unpredictable. And the Page of Cups can represent a creative project, a creative endeavor. It can represent either the project itself, like the creation itself, or it can represent you being a beginner, or whoever you're reading for. This is a very beginning level energy. This energy is actually very similar to the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups represented an emotional outburst, an emotional release, an emotional acknowledgement. This was a confession. These were feelings coming up to the surface. The Page of Cups takes those feelings and takes things to the next level. Okay, this is a message. This is like a conversation that you have with your crush. This energy is very talkative, communicative. So going back to the idea that the Page of Cups represents being a beginner, the Page of Cups in a relationship reading can represent the fact that like this relationship in question is in a beginning stage, and or the person involved in the relationship is a little childish at times. But this energy typically means well, okay? They have a big heart, they live with their heart on their sleeve. So the Page himself is a young energy. It is a hopeless romantic energy. This is a dude with rose-colored glasses on. But the fish represents wisdom, and it represents experience, and it represents the bittersweet, like jadedness that comes with wisdom and experience. And so this is like kind of depicting the fish giving the Page advice. So there is some kind of conversation taking place here. All right, in the reverse position, the Page of Cups can represent being overly sensitive, or it can represent refusing to feel your feelings. The Page of Cups reversed can be needy. The Page of Cups reversed can be manipulative. The Page of Cups reversed can be codependent energy, someone who's afraid to be alone, afraid to be on their own. The Page of Cups reversed represents heartache, and it stems from like an inability to trust. This energy feels afraid to trust because maybe they've been hurt before. The Page of Cups reversed is a lack of inspiration, or an inability to trust your intuition, an inability to know what's best for you. The Page of Cups in the reverse position can have a lot to do with rejection. Okay, so this can manifest as a fear of rejection. This can also manifest as you putting yourself out there and someone actually rejecting you, or vice versa. This can mean a no in general, but this could also be a form of self-rejection. Going back to the idea that the Page of Cups reverse can feel like a lack of inspiration, a lack of intuition. This can feel like an inability to trust yourself, an inability to trust your own ideas. All right. So from the page, we mature a little bit into the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is Prince Charming. He's a knight on a white horse. Well, I guess it's a gray horse. Yet this energy is about using your feelings to guide you. This energy is about following your impulses, following your intuition, but more so acting on your feelings. This energy is about following your bliss. And so yes, the Knight of Cups can represent admitting your romantic feelings for someone, or someone admitting their feelings for you, but also this is about admitting and being honest about all different kinds of feelings, like good, bad, and otherwise. This energy is very self-expressive. It can be someone who is good with their words, someone who is very charming, a sweet talker of sorts, or it could be someone who fumbles over their words and tends to word vomit. The knight has little wings on his helmet and little wings at his feet on his shoes, and that's a nod to Mercury, the god of communication, messenger of the gods. He also has fish decorating his armor, which is a similar vibe to the Page of Cups. And the Page and the Knight are actually very, very similar, but the only difference is that the Page of Cups tends to have very, very pure intentions. The Knight of Cups' intentions can be questionable, okay? This energy can be fickle. It's very boyish. It can be forgetful, and even in the upright position, it can be kind of manipulative. And even in the upright position, a Knight of Cups energy can indicate a lack of boundaries and a lack of commitment. So essentially, the Knight of Cups represents letting your feelings guide you, letting your desires guide you. So when it's in the reverse position, this indicates not listening to your gut and not listening to your feelings. The Knight of Cups reversed can indicate someone is bottling their emotions up, or that they're living in some kind of fantasy, some kind of delusion, and or someone who's not being totally honest. The Knight of Cups reversed tends to have a lot of secrets, okay? So the Knight of Cups essentially can indicate fuckboy vibes. Like, even in the upright position, especially in the upright position. In the upright position, the Knight of Cups does indicate a lack of commitment, a lack of boundaries, even though there's still genuine feelings and genuine emotion here. You know what I mean? But after the Knight, after we let our emotions lead the way and we let our desires lead the way, this brings us to the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is a really, really cool card. This is a very nurturing, motherly, loving energy, but this is the energy of a healer. This is the energy of someone who transforms the lives of others. Okay, so on this card, we have a queen sitting in a throne, and her throne is decked out in seashells and angels and these cherubs, these baby angels, but they're mermaids. They got little mermaid tails, and there's some seashells, some pebbles at her feet. She's cloaked in blue, and her actual cape cloak, it looks like it's made of waves or water. She's surrounded by water. She's sitting on a shoreline. Her cup is very ornate. It's very decorated. There's a little cross at the top. There's more angels. There's some symbols decorating the cup, but most importantly, it's closed. Okay, this is very, very significant. The Queen of Cups is an energy of emotional intelligence. She helps other people manage their emotions. And so because of that, she keeps her personal emotions, her personal experiences, her personal thoughts and opinions to herself. Okay, she is closed off emotionally so that she is able to take on and heal and transform the emotions of others. So just like every other queen in the deck, the Queen of Cups is about divine femininity. Okay, the seashell on her throne is a nod to Aphrodite and the birth of Venus and goddess-like energy. This is about love. This is about sexuality and beauty. The Queen of Cups is a beautiful, beautiful woman. Her energy is so artistic and it's so intuitive and it's very seductive. And simultaneously, she is very motherly, very nurturing. And so with the fact that like the cherubs are near her and like decorating her throne, this is a nod to the idea that children are very important to her. The Queen of Cups honors the sacredness of female sexuality and like the innocence, the purity, the importance of childhood and childbearing, and there's no room for the Madonna whore complex in the Queen of Cups. She's not a compartmentalized woman. She's a healed, fully integrated, whole and complete woman with many different aspects of herself. And she can hold space for all of that. And because of that emotional labor that she has done, she's a healer for others. So those seashells, those pebbles at her feet, those symbolize the people that she has helped heal and helped transform. Going back to that Seven of Cups, the cup filled with jewels, that signified Jupiter and having pearls of wisdom. That's what this is. These are pearls of wisdom. The Queen of Cups is like Kali Ma energy. And Kali Ma is the Hindu goddess of both creation and destruction. Her energy and dark goddess energy in general, it reminds us that the path to our personal liberation, mental liberation, emotional liberation, spiritual liberation, it is found and it is cultivated by working through our darkness. The Queen of Cups works and helps other people heal through their darkness. The energy of the Queen of Cups is similar to Temperance, it's similar to the Star, and it's similar to the High Priestess. She's a good combination of those three ladies. Okay? And similar to the High Priestess, the Queen of Cups is receptive, and so she can be very passive. She uses this to her advantage. However, the Queen of Cups sometimes can represent feeling like a damsel in distress, waiting to be saved, being a little too passive, not taking some kind of action. But there is power in waiting. There is power in being patient. The Temperance card also taught us that. There's a lot of power, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of alchemy, there's a lot of magic and manifestation and miracles that get to enter your life if you're willing to be patient, if you're willing to meet the universe halfway, and if you're willing to play the long game. Okay, so the Queen of Cups, she's patient. She knows there's a time to wait. She knows that good things come to those who wait, and she surrenders to the flow of life. When we see the Queen of Cups in the reverse position, this is a sign to meditate. This is a sign to tune in. This is a sign to disconnect from reality in order to tune into your inner world, okay? The Queen of Cups reverse can indicate being too sensitive to other people's emotions, wanting to help other people, but you're not able to, and that could be for a multitude of reasons. So one, the people that you want to help, the people that you want to heal, the people you want to work with, the people you want to nurture, they might not be ready to receive your time and attention, or you're just not in a good headspace. It's not the right time for you to take on someone else's emotional labor, you know? Queen of Cups reversed does indicate a lack of boundaries and a need for you to be a little bit more selfish with your own energy, and a need for you to get a little bit more protective over your energy. Or the Queen of Cups reversed can indicate a lack of emotional intelligence, a lack of emotional maturity. Queen of Cups reversed is an indication for you to pay attention to your own emotional well-being, your own emotional body. Queen of Cups reversed indicates that there's an opportunity for you to take your healing to the next level. There's an opportunity for you to take your intuitive abilities and your artistic abilities to the next level, but it's not going to be easy, and it requires you to sit with your shadow side. This is going to require you to sit with your darkness, to sit with some kind of pain, to sit with some kind of grief, and work through some kind of emotional baggage that will ultimately help you step into your own personal power and help you along your path of personal development. But essentially, this energy is asking you to get a little bit more emotionally mature. The Queen of Cups in the reverse position can be very dramatic. This can be a needy energy. This can be a codependent energy. I feel like I said that about the Knight of Cups, and the same thing is going to be true for the Queen and the King. The Queen of Cups in the reverse position can be a little domineering. It can be a little explosive, but that's because they have their own demons that they're not too comfortable with facing. Okay, so Queen of Cups is a really, really beautiful, loving, unique card. And from this Queen, we move on to the last card of the Cups, Mr. King of Cups. And so on this card, we see a king wearing a yellow cloak and a blue robe. He is sitting on this square platform in the middle of some rocky seas. Behind him we see a fish, and then we see a boat. He's got a cup, but he's also got some kind of scepter, and he's got a cool crown. The fact that he has a golden fish sitting on his chain represents the fact that it's his intuition that has led to his success. This is someone who is in tune with his feminine nature. He is in tune with his emotional nature. He is extremely emotionally intelligent. He's extremely comfortable with his own femininity, but at the same exact time, he's able to execute and exert his masculine energy in a very healthy way. The King of Cups is a master of his emotions, but similar to the Queen of Cups, he's a master of his emotions because he doesn't give too much away. This dude has a hidden agenda. He has some hidden desires that he doesn't let control him, but the King of Cups, even in the upright position, he can be a little manipulative, okay? And symbolism wise, his firm, solid ground that he's standing on represents the fact that even in the midst of a rocky sea, this dude is calm. And even if he is freaking out, he's not gonna let you know. He's gonna act cool, calm, and collected, okay? When we see the King of Cups in a reading, this is a sign to solve your problems with more diplomacy. The King of Cups is a great leader. He's deeply intuitive when it comes to making decisions. He's deeply empathetic when it comes to caring about the people that he's in charge of. So I said that the King of Cups can be a father figure of sorts. This can be an authority figure. This can be a religious figure, like a guru, some kind of spiritual teacher. However, the King of Cups can also be someone who is famous for being hot. The King of Cups similar to the Queen of Cups, can be like a seductive energy who gets attention just for their looks or for their personality. The King of Cups is a schmoozer. He's a charmer, but only to a certain extent, okay? The King of Cups is a man who will tell you, my trust is yours to lose, but that's low-key a lie because he never really trusted you in the first place. That stems from the fact that like he doesn't trust a lot of people. So really it wasn't your fault. It wasn't personal. It has nothing to do with you. But I do want to add the fact that like the King of Cups is also a good leader because he doesn't micromanage people. He gives people the freedom and the space to show their true colors, show their true intentions, and then he makes decisions as he sees fit. Like I was saying, the King of Cups tends to have a hidden agenda. He tends to hold his own personal emotions, his own personal feelings back. But when the King of Cups is in the reverse position, that means that this energy, this person, their intentions are more obvious. Like their shadiness, their sneakiness, there's some form of manipulation happening, and their toxic traits are more obvious. They're not hiding anything anymore, for the most part, okay? And the King of Cups in the reverse position can also be like a mama's boy and someone who doesn't want to take accountability for their own emotional well-being, someone who puts the blame on other people. This can be a very narcissistic energy, but it's more than that. It's someone who needs to be looked after. It's someone who needs to be cared for. It's someone who is not good at taking care of themselves. In summary, the King of Cups is someone who looks like they have it all together, even though internally there's a lot of emotional chaos happening. And this is because they are empathetic to the thoughts and feelings of other people, but at the end of the day, they're still gonna do what they wanna do when they wanna do it. Yeah, and essentially a king's energy is a form of self-mastery. So the King of Cups does represent mastering your emotions, being in tune with yourself, being able to hold space for all different kinds of emotions and the opinions of other people, while still being a good leader, a good father, a good parent, a good businessman, and still being able to make hard decisions. Yeah, all right, so that was the cups. And the cups in the tarot told a story of insight, emotional release, intuition, inspiration, joy, loss, grief, childhood innocence, love, union, partnership, connection, family relationships, family dynamics, and healing through pleasure, healing through the pursuit of fulfillment. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.